Welcome to our new channel, Van Living Basics. I've surfed the web and I've listened to many a channel on living in the van, and they are all very good channels. But there is a niche that is more needy than and not filled, and that is living basically in the van. Just getting out in a van and living without all the buildup. Those other channels have their niche. We have ours. This channel will be informative and perhaps not as artsy as the others, but that's okay, because information is what the basic person needs. We live in the van for various reasons, and none are as basic as our living. My wife needs eye surgery so she can correct a condition that will allow her to see in her right eye. So if anyone wants to help us, the mailing address is 19885 Detroit Road, Unit 138, Rocky River, Ohio. That's 2 words. Rocky River, 44116. Cash donations anywhere from $1 to $10 would be of great benefit. And that's the reason we're living in a van, so that we can use our rent money that we would be paying someone else towards her eye surgery. Thank you again for helping. So the first thing is, the other channels focused on, this is the inside of our van, the roof version, the roof view, and there's lots of reasons not to live in a van, but I've watched many videos, and all the reasons were valid and wonderful. But there are several reasons that were not touched upon, which were made evident to us recently. And I'd like to share them with you. One, most landlords, like 99.9%, do not change the locks and the doors. So anybody who's had access to that rental unit that you have can enter at any time. Does it happen often? Not necessarily, but it can happen, and it happened to us. Second, the standards are so atrocious you can enter in. For example, 2 examples would be, we lived in a place for many a year, and then in come the bed bugs, because some person brought in bed bugs that was adjacent to us, and we had bed bugs for 2 years, and they were terrible to live with, and we did not have any opportunity to leave that dwelling. No transportation, nothing. Second would be neighbors, and that's been touched on by others, and we left another apartment for that reason. And just recently, the landlord moved us into an apartment in a nice suburb, and it was like living on an anthill of small black sugar ants. And then we were given a notice that there would be an annual inspection by a city inspectors. And so they came, Of course, I put my little tripwires in to make sure it was supposed to be random. So because of that, I put my tripwires in to make sure I knew when I had left the apartment that the some intruder had come into our apartment. Because random obviously means it could have been, and yours could have been entered, ours could have been entered, or someone else's, but not yours, for example. So anyway, we returned to our apartment, and I checked the tripwire in the rear door, and it had been tripped. So I knew there had been somebody in the apartment. They did not know that they had tripped a wire. I entered the apartment after they had been in it. They pulled the plug plate from the kitchen wall, disabling our, basically abusing, in abusive form, our refrigeration. So we had no refrigeration. And the notice that we had that they were going to be inspecting could have been done by anyone. Any past resident who had kept such a notice and then entered with a key. So immediately we left, and here we are today. But those are two reasons right there why you do not want to rent. And for safety concerns. And I like to keep these videos short, informative. Like, subscribe, and I'm going to keep the comments open, but we would appreciate positive comments. And thank you for joining us on our tour.